You are listening to A Scary State, and this week we're talking about Oregon. So, Lauren?
Yes, Kenzie.
Let's get scary gone. I don't know.
You're so weird.
I know.
Well, this is a scary week.
Ugh. That's why my post was like, sorry for the late post. It's sad girl vibes.
So if you listen to this podcast, you probably have the same views we do, so we're sorry.
Correct. And if you're just finding out now, Lauren and I are liberal. Sorry, not sorry if that causes you to stop listening. Because at this point, we don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Because if you voted the other way, then thank you so much for voting away our rights and the rights of others.
So hopefully this podcast can keep going because it's women run. So
yeah, who knows?
On to a different scary thing, so we can stop talking about politics because those are scary enough. So you know,
depressing.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Scary is one thing, depressing is another.
It's both. So you know the lights that we have out on our like railway to come up, those like pumpkin lights. The other day I came home, they were on, and I was like, well, that's weird.
I feel like we've had this conversation before about your lights being on when you get home.
It's so weird. So I texted Joe and Richie and I was like, did either of you guys turn the lights on? And they're like, no. And I was like, they were on, which means in order to turn them on, you had to come up our steps and flick the switch on. It's creepy.
Maybe someone did.
But why? During the day?
Or maybe it's an electrical short and they just turned on.
So they flipped their own switch?
Maybe.
No.
Maybe it was windy. Look.
Windy enough to flip a switch?
Ma'am,
Mackenzie.
A whole ass tree fell outside of your house and we didn't hear it. So honestly, I think anything is possible in this godforsaken neighborhood.
Yeah.
Nature does some crazy things around here.
And also we have a branch that like hits our roof.
Oh,
it woke me up the other day. But it's so creepy because it sounds like metal on metal. So it sounds like someone's dragging something across the roof. It's so creepy.
I've had it before where like a window will be open and then like if it's like a cool night or whatever and it's a little breezy, the cord. The cord thingy will tap.
Oh,
But I still, for a moment, will sometimes forget that I like have a window open or whatever, and it'll make a sound, and I'm like, "What's that?" And then I remember.
Yeah.
So like I'd constantly be like, "What's that?" And then I'd be like, "It's the branch," and I'd get nervous.
Well, I mean,
every time.
that's what I just remembered. I was like, "It's the branch." It sounds terrifying, but I know it's the branch.
One day, it's not going to be the branch.
You know that I think it's Jeepers Creepers. He comes out every 23 years. It's been 23 years since the last movie was released. We also...
I don't think it counts if you've never seen it.
You don't have to see it to know that he comes and takes your things. He takes eyes and body parts to make himself, like, immortal. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those peepers? It's from that, because he takes your eyes.
Lovely.
Also... we have our like little sunlight thingy upstairs, like whatever it's called. I always get so scared at night that I'm gonna look up there one day. There's a face.
Oh my God, you're right. That's terrifying.
I know. So after I heard like the creepy metal being drug across the roof, I was like, dear God, if I see a face.
You know how we are with windows and faces.
I know.
Don't.
So it's very scary to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. During the daytime, it's lovely though.
Oh yeah, very lovely.
Yeah.
And it's nice at night, like when I can see like a star or something. But that's kind of scary.
One single
star. It's not very big.
It'd be cool though if like how the position of the moon in the sky landed.
That would be cool.
Right there.
Maybe one day.
When this time of year, when like everything's like lower in the sky, I can see the moon from like my kitchen window.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
It is very pretty.
So, yeah.
So should we talk about Oregon?
Oregon. We should before our listeners are all gone.
A powerful eruption followed by a colossal collapse created the deepest lake in the United States. Crater Lake, fitting name, was formed by the massive volcanic eruption of Mount Mazama some 7,700 years ago. The mountain collapsed and rain and snow eventually filled the resulting crater. Today, it's a pristine lake nearly 2,000 feet deep. There's only one safe and legal way to get to the icy lake, Cleetwater Cove Trail, a 1.1-mile, one-way trail that usually opens in June and drops nearly 700 feet to the lakeshore. It's strenuous with an 11% grade, so it's only recommended for people in good physical shape. Not me.
Right.
You can swim once you get there, but you'll shiver. Surface water's warm only to 55 to 60 degrees in summer.
That's freezing.
It's pretty cold.
That's so fucking cold.
When I was in Washington, we went hiking near Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier. Are you going to say St. Helen?
Yeah, where's that?
Montana? That's wrong. I don't know.
But it's not Washington.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Mount St. Helen?
Yeah.
Okay. Mount St.
I think Montana sounds right.
Oh, it is in Washington. Wow, look at you.
Haha, but it's not the one near Seattle.
Not the one I was at, no.
Okay.
No, it is not.
Okay, so we were both right.
We were.
Look at us. We're actually pretty smart. Okay, cool. I can keep that in now.
But part of our hike, we passed by like this really, really pretty lake.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go swimming because I had no change of clothes and we still had a lot to hike.
Yeah.
But there were people just like swimming in there. And I was like, that looks cold. We were there in October, so it was kind of chilly.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't know.
People are
looked
built
like they were having a great time.
The whole like ice plunges.
Oh,
things.
No, you didn't do that. You brought me to one.
Yes. But that was for charity. I mean, how people will regularly just.
Oh, I know, like ice baths and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me.
No. Mm-mm.
They had it at my gym the other day where you could come work out and then do that. I didn't go. I was busy, but I also didn't want to go.
I have a fear because one time someone told me that you can go into shock if your body warms up too fast.
Oh.
And so I've always had this fear of being like really cold before I go into a bathtub. Yep.
I love a good bath.
That's one of those like things that stays with you
For your whole life.
Someone tells you in your childhood and that's locked in.
Oh, yeah. That's how I felt with helium. You know how like people would suck in helium?
Yeah.
Well, I always like, I don't know who told me, but that your lungs can like get too small. Like something can happen with your lungs. I have never breathed in helium.
Well, someone did say that it's like bad for you. So I limit, but every once in a while.
See, I've never done it because the childhood thing stuck with me where like, I'll die if I breathe in helium.
Oh, I used to do it way too often.
I know you did. I've been with you for many of those.
That's so funny.
All right, a small prehistoric stone knife found here in 2012 has convinced some archaeologists that people have lived in what's now Oregon for at least 15,000 years. Much later, Native American tribes, including Paiute, Nez Perce, Shasta, Tillamook, and Chinook, and many more lived on the land. Yeah, nailed it.
Nice.
Europeans are thought to have arrived in the 1500s. Upon reaching the region, both Spain and Great Britain claimed it for themselves.
Greedy bastards.
Starting in the 1840s, American settlers arrived by the way of the Oregon Trail, a more than 2,000-mile-long route with wagon trains.
Did you play that game?
I was just going to ask you. No, I haven't. Have you?
Once in like 4th grade on one of those really cool days where they took you to the computer lab.
I want to play it at this age.
I've only like, it's a faint memory.
Mm-hmm.
Of us playing it, but it was one of those days when we were like taken to like the computer lab because back in our day,
that was how it worked.
That was how it worked.
Talking to someone yesterday, they're a teacher, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we have like the computer or like the carts that they bring. Oh, they do something on their like tablets or whatever."
Yeah, my kids are 1-to-1 with tablets.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, some days we would get the laptop cart, and you would get one laptop to share."
That wasn't even until fucking high school.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't even remember that happening.
When I first started teaching, it was laptop carts. But then the pandemic made it so that all the kids needed to have a computer.
Right.
And so after that, especially in the upper grades, kids were 1-to-1 with a laptop.
Wild.
Yeah.
And then we had projectors, and now people have like better things.
I am still very heartbroken because the reason I wanted to become a teacher was to be able to write. And they're gone.
That's actually really sad.
It's so heartbreaking. My dreams cannot ever officially come true.
You can always bring it back. Ooh, you can have old school day.
So at my old school, I was in like the supply closet and I see it and I was like, oh.
Is it covered in dust with like spider webs hanging off of it?
No, actually, because I think they were transporting it to throw it away.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you're getting rid of it? This is why I wanted to become a teacher. And my assistant principal at the time was like, do you want it? I'm like, no.
That's too prehistoric.
I just want a one-time use.
Just want to write on it one day.
Just for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
But they don't even there's nothing you pull down anymore either.
Oh, wow.
It's just a giant computer screen that you project things from your tiny computer screen.
God, technology.
Yeah.
With this trail, marks that wagon wheels left in the earth called ruts can still be seen today. Soon, there were so many Americans here that the European countries gave up their claim to the land, and in 1859, Oregon became the 33rd state.
See how easy that was?
So peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
It probably wasn't peaceful.
Probably not.
The Columbia Plateau is Oregon's largest geographical region, and it fills almost the entire eastern half of the state. Hell's Canyon, the deepest river gorge in North America, is here. The canyon is an average 5,500 feet deep. Nearly 5 stacked Eiffel Towers could fit inside. What this means is
you could take 5 Eiffel Towers.
5, count them, 5 Eiffel Towers.
And put them in this canyon.
Once hunted for its fur, the beaver, Oregon state animal, is common here. Other local mammals include Roosevelt elk, gray wolves, and wolverines. Stellar sea lions live year-round in the sea caves and caverns of Oregon's coast. At work the other day, we got stickers for someone's birthday to put on the card. One was 2 little otters.
Oh.
And so Brie put it on my desk with a little heart. And I was like, oh, Mackenzie would love this.
I would.
And then we looked at facts about otters, and we went really deep into, like, the otter fact rabbit hole.
It's a slippery slope, pun intended, because they go down slippery slopes. They like to slide. At least river otters do. They like to slide.
Oh.
And so, like, if there's, like, ice or whatever, you'll just see them, like, sliding on their bellies. It's so cute.
That is really cute.
Yeah.
And then Brie was going around asking everyone in the office, if we were otters, would you hold my hand so we don't float away? Everyone said yes except one person. We said, why would you say no? You don't get to be on our raft anymore because
It's called a raft.
it's called a raft when otters are all together.
Yes, and they tie themselves up in seaweed
Oh, I didn't know that.
so that they don't float away.
I'll have a fun story to tell when I get to work.
Mhm.
Oregon provides the most softwood lumber in the United States.
Or kelp. Because I think seaweed is, like, smaller. I think kelp is, like, the big, long things.
We learned that from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The kelp forest.
Sunstone, the official state gem, opal, agate,
Sure.
and jade are also mined here.
Probably agate.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Did you know that apparently it's bad luck to buy opal for yourself?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And you're supposed to, like, give it to someone, and that's the safest way to wear opal?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought any opal. I think my mom's always given me it because that's also her birthstone.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah.
I think, though, if it's your birthstone, you can buy it for yourself.
Yeah, so October is an opal.
Pretty.
Fucking topaz.
Is yours? Is that the yellow one?
Yeah.
Oh, mine's aquamarine.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think April is, like, diamond.
I thought that was December. I don't know.
April.
Oh, what's December? Ruby?
So you can have a lot. So theirs is tanzanite, zircon, and turquoise.
You can't have all of them.
Well, that's what they have. Learn
Oh,
about
yeah.
December
So they have
birthstone.
turquoise.
Blue topaz, zircon, and tanzanite.
Hmm.
Oregon has the world's only Bigfoot trap, located in Siskiyou National Forest.
When I was pulling this information, the sentence after this one on the website was like, but Bigfoot isn't real. And I was like, well, we're taking that out.
Rude.
Right?
It could be. You just don't know.
You don't know.
Wow.
Obviously, nothing's been trapped yet.
Yet. It's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time.
Or maybe it just won't even go near there because it knows there's a trap.
Correct.
Duh.
Because it's the world's only one. It's not like it's
Right.
a
so
secret location.
I just don't have to go to the Siskiyou National Forest as Bigfoot and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable. Oregon is the 9th largest state in the union, covering 98,380 square miles. The John Day Fossil Beds National Monument is one of the richest fossil sites in the world. Just means there's a lot of fossils there?
I guess so. They said that the other one was like in, I don't know, Thailand, Japan, somewhere in
Not here.
Eastern Asia. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think of my cardinal directions.
The largest concentration of wintering bald eagles can be found in Klamath Basin National Wildlife Refuge Complex. Refuge Complex.
You do this every time.
I know. The Malheur Wildlife Refuge is home to the largest freshwater marsh in the U.S.
I think it's Malheur.
Malheur?
I think so.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
The Oregon hazelnut is the state's official nut, and Oregon grows 99% of the entire U.S. commercial crop.
I love hazelnut.
I was just going to say, don't you love
I
hazelnut?
love hazelnut, especially in my coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Hazelnut coffee with hazelnut creamer. I can actually, if it's just hazelnut coffee, I don't have to have creamer.
Oh, wow.
Just a little bit of sugar, just to cut the bitterness.
Need your sugar.
Just a little bit.
I one day want to be able to drink black coffee. Hasn't happened yet. I just enjoy my creamers too much.
I can do black coffee. I can do it. It's not preferred, but it's easier when the coffee itself has a flavor.
It's flavored.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So hazelnut. It just smells so yummy.
I have some over there if you want some.
No, I'm okay. My hands will start shaking.
Oh, good. There are more than 750 vineyards in Oregon, growing 72 different varieties of wine grapes.
Nice.
There are more than 6,000 lakes and 112,000 miles of rivers and streams. Wow. Oregon contains more than 5,900 registered campsites, along with 230 state parks and 13 national forests.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Nearly half of Oregon's total area is forested, close to 30 million acres, which clearly increases your odds of finding Bigfoot.
That's what I'm saying.
Or increases his places to hide.
That too.
There are 16 known hot springs in Oregon. Have you ever been to a hot spring?
No, I would love to, though.
I would too.
I think that'd be really cool.
I think I went to one. There's like this, not a resort, like a lodge kind of thing somewhere in Virginia. And Mom had a meeting there years and years ago. So we went and the pool they had there was like from a hot spring.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Don't remember very much, but
Clearly.
you know. Timberline Lodge, on Mount Hood, served as the scenic backdrop for the movie The Shining. I love The Shining.
I know. You said you got to find scary movie facts. Or
See, that's
not
a
movie facts.
Fact, like a fun, scary fact.
But like scary nature facts. And I saw that one. I was like, here you go.
Yes, that's a good movie. That's not scary. There's no, well, I don't remember if there's jump scares. It's like a classic.
Isn't that the one with the two creepy twin?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that seems very scary.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, that's Oregon.
That is Oregon.
Oregon. People would be so mad.
I don't care.
All right, Mackenzie, what do you have for Oregon?
So this is definitely one of my less spooky stories,
Okay.
but the house is definitely haunted.
Okay.
However, it sounds like that these are like nice spirits, and there's no really overly dark tragedies that have seemed to have occurred.
Okay, we like the nice spirits every now
But
and
it's
then.
still spooky. Oh, that looks cool.
Cool.
Well, because the light's shining in and the smoke is like all twirly. Kind of looks like a ghost. I think it's the Flavel.
The Flavel.
I think
Okay.
so. It's Flavell.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently, as I'm doing my research, I had to be careful because there's more than one Flavel house.
Of all the names that a house can have.
Mm-hmm. And I realized it too because someone was like, not to be confused with the Flavel Mansion, which is what I'm talking about. So I'm like, I didn't know that there was two.
I had that with Sandhaven.
Yeah.
The one I covered. There were a couple Sandhavens.
Which ends up being why this is a little bit shorter. Because I went to go find more stories. And I was like, well, those are for the other house.
Right.
And I didn't do that house.
Where's the other house?
In Oregon.
Oh.
Which made it worse.
You could have just done both of them.
Well, I didn't realize it till this morning. It's a little too late.
Just a little.
The Flavel House Museum, located in Astoria, Oregon, is an impressive example of Queen Anne-style architecture and a significant piece of the region's history. This looks like a dollhouse.
Oh, pretty.
It's so pretty. Built in 1885 by Captain George Flavel.
Does he own both of the Flavel houses?
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know, because one person tried to be like, oh, his son owns it. I said, well, that wasn't his son's name, though. Like, the first name.
Right.
It was the last name. So maybe it was his son's house.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why there's two of them.
Maybe.
Because his son, like, lived in the area.
I feel like Flavel is so unique.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably maybe it was his son's house.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize that the son's house was also haunted.
Oh,
and
wow.
What is the son's name?
Jeremiah.
Oh, but it's basic like that.
Jeremiah's a basic name?
Like old-timey.
Orville. Horace.
Why do I not have the kids' names in here? Hold on.
Maybe you read them enough and thought you would remember.
Probably. Because he has 2 daughters and a son. Give me a second. I'm just going to...
2 daughters and a son.
2 daughters and a son. And the son was the one that didn't live at home. Right. Okay. So that's what I thought. His son's name is also George.
Oh. Like George Foreman, who named all of his sons George.
Sure. And so, but like the person who owned the other house, his name was Henry.
Oh.
And there's no Henry Flavel in the official.
Is his middle name Henry?
No, it's Conrad.
Henry? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So,
anyhow.
You know how it goes with those haunted places.
Mhm.
Things get murky.
Yep.
Okay.
As they do.
Yeah. So, but he does, and his 2 daughters who did live at the house are Nellie and Katie. And that's all. It's important because we talk about Katie's room.
I kind of like the name Nellie.
Right? Isn't that cute?
Yeah. But I would like it with an IE at the end, not a Y.
Hers is IE.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Built in 1885 by Captain George Flavel, a successful bar pilot and prominent businessman, the mansion reflects the wealth and influence of one of Astoria's most notable figures. Spanning nearly 20,000 square feet,
Oh my God.
the house features intricate woodwork, stained glass windows, and period furnishings that showcase the Victorian opulence. Thank you, ChatGPT, for the fancy vocab. The surrounding grounds included a carriage house and beautiful gardens. I'm pretty sure when you go through the museum, I don't know if you start in the carriage house, but I think like that's kind of like your entrance
Oh, that's cool.
into it. After Captain Flavel's death in 1893, the house remained in the family until 1933 when it was turned over to the city. Eventually, it became a museum in 1951, preserving the rich heritage of Astoria and offering visitors a glimpse into the lifestyle of the prosperous 19th century family. Today, the Flavel House is a popular attraction noted for its architectural beauty and historical significance in Oregon's coastal history. So I broke it up by sections.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the first floor.
Nice. Love it.
Visitors frequently report sounds of music and familial conversation on the first floor, only to find that no one is in the rooms when they're hearing the sounds. It is believed that these sounds are the spirits of the Flavel daughters who were gifted musicians.
Oh.
So, hauntedhouses.com.
Which we love.
In this case, I haven't loved it too much because it hasn't had any comments for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I clicked on this one and there was abundance. I said, okay, back in business, baby.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't say names.
Okay.
So we're going to make them up.
Okay, fun.
Okay.
Love it.
So this is from
Maureen.
Yep. And her experience.
Okay.
She went to the Flavel house over the weekend whenever this was posted. I always just like to tell it in first person. So it was my first time in Astoria. Gorgeous house. We watched the movie before taking the tour. I was making some jokes about Mrs. Flavel, about how young she was when she married and how particular she was about keeping the home. We did the self-tour through the house, and in the kitchen, I was recording a video of my boyfriend at the old Victorian stove, and I noticed something on my camera screen. It was like a blurry spot on the film that wasn't there when I looked at him, not through the phone.
Yeah, in person, not over the phone.
Yeah. I thought it might be something on my camera, so I wiped the lens and it was still there. I thought it was weird, and then a few minutes later, I bent down and my necklace broke and fell off and onto the floor.
Oh.
I have never had any issues with this necklace before, but it broke as if someone had pulled the pendant and threw it on the ground.
Oh, that's weird.
It was a very bizarre experience, and I apologize to Mrs. Flavel for trash talking her in her home.
Oh.
One of the volunteers who now works at the house said that she could often hear music coming from a music box that used to be in like one of the first floor rooms.
Mm-hmm.
It had a large, heavy lid, which had to be lifted to start the mechanism, like most music boxes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The volunteer would sit in the hall near the front door and could see everyone who came in and out, yet no one would even be in the house when she heard the music box playing.
Ew.
Once she told other volunteer workers about hearing this, they also said that they had heard it several times too. Apparently, in 2006, a writer had asked about the music box, and he was told that the music box used to be in the music room,
Mm-hmm.
but one day when the volunteers came in, it was gone. To this day, no one knows what happened to it, and there was no break-in.
It's just gone?
Apparently, it's just gone.
Oh my God.
But people can still supposedly hear music.
Ew.
So,
I don't like that.
right. That's probably the point.
Yeah.
The library is a big place that a lot of stuff happens because I think it was where Captain George was always like his spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the home's library, visitors commonly experience an uninviting or unhappy presence, though no one has identified the source of this feeling, be it spiritual or otherwise. So let's see. We'll name this person Tom.
Okay.
He says, I just recently visited the Flavel house. Me and my children heard odd, inconsistent bells ringing in the library. It was really eerie. We never figured out what it was and it kept happening on and off in that room. The dining room felt light and airy. It was easy to envision the dinner parties and good times they must have had in there. The bathroom off to the side of the library was very claustrophobic, and I definitely felt an energy in that area that gave me anxiety. I did not like upstairs at all. I had massive pressure on my chest entering every room, especially Katie's room, where it was noted she died in her bed of malnutrition illness.
Oh.
Which is a horrific way to go, and the visuals and energy was too much for me to feel, and I felt the need to leave that room quickly. The captain's room was where I felt like we weren't supposed to be there. I didn't feel invited, and I felt like we were trespassing in a way, and it was not our right or place to be roaming around in their home. It felt as though you had to tiptoe as if not to wake someone while they were sleeping.
Ew.
My children were fascinated and didn't seem to pick up on anything but intrigue and wonder on the upstairs.
It's actually interesting that the kids didn't pick up on anything because usually kids are the ones who pick up on like that side.
I feel like that's more telling too.
Yeah.
Like, did you have anxiety going into this?
Right.
But Tom says that they really liked it. I kept my feelings to myself, but quickly scooted along and wanted to leave quickly. I loved the music room overall. The beautiful, fascinating home with lots and lots of emotions and most definitely spirits and energy. If you're a sensitive person, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to move up to the second floor.
Oh, nice. Yes, that would make sense.
Yes. On the second floor, the smell of floral perfume is often encountered in the bedrooms.
Ooh, and it's a common sign of like ghosts and stuff.
Yes, I remember you saying that to me once about, well, I mean, it makes sense because also the apparition of George Flavel has been reported being encountered multiple times in the home's master bedroom. I think that's where, I forget what he died. It was some illness. It wasn't like I said, there wasn't an overt tragedy.
Right, but I mean, illnesses are tragic.
Yes, but it wasn't like especially at the time, it wasn't uncommon for you to die in your home.
Right.
Essentially.
Okay, yeah.
At least that's what a lot of people made the point of. But if you do see him, apparently he fades right into the floor.
Ew.
Right.
Ew, I don't like that.
So again, hauntedhouses.com. So let's see. I'm trying to see if you can. I feel like just because of this person's sensitivity that she's a woman.
Shelby.
That's perfect. So Shelby says, the Flavel house and the family's history are both very interesting, especially for those who conduct further research. This Queen Anne style home has many beautiful details, but the review claiming that the furnishings are all original is incorrect. Some of the items in the house did belong to the Flavel family, but most are only period accurate and not to the original home, which, duh.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The Historical Society does not endorse the Flavel house spirit claims, which
I don't think it really does.
bummer on their part.
Right.
But as an empath and sensitive, I had two distinct personal experiences in the house during our visit. Firstly, the Flavel house is not a negative space. I sense energetic signatures in a very specific and physical way. The energy I experience in the Flavel house has been described as melancholic.
Oh, I thought that was kind of bad, though.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Well, but like it's not angry or
okay.
like malice. It's just sad.
Okay.
Which, not good.
Right,
but
right.
not
But not evil.
safe. Right.
Okay.
My experiences occurred in Katie's bedroom and in the upstairs hallway near the top of the main stairwell. So when Shelby's in Katie's room, she says, I felt pressure in my head and neck along with mild vertigo. This is my typical physical experience with energy and the same I've experienced with every paranormal encounter I've had since childhood.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
The residual emotion in this space is melancholic, not surprising since Katie passed on a complication from malnutrition, which is very sad. I only felt this way in this room, the strongest near the bed and the fireplace. My experience in the hallway was at the top of the main stairwell. Again, I had the pressure in my head and neck along with vertigo. I also felt a very strong sense of melancholic yet underlying positive emotion in this space. To me, this has a female character, but again, that doesn't mean it's an active haunting. I had no experiences in the captain's bedroom or the library. I'm not willing to say that this house harbors intelligent hauntings. I can confirm that there is energy present, which I believe is to be residual. This could be from past or present, since many people have visited the house over the years. As a native Oregonian, Astoria is my favorite coastal town in our state, and the history plays a big part in my affection for it. So now we're going to go more into the bedrooms. In the former bedroom of Katie Flavel, museum volunteers have said that they will close the room's curtains only to return a few minutes later to find them open again, even when there wasn't anyone else in the home to open them. The story goes that Katie Flavel always enjoyed natural light and thus always preferred the curtains open in her room.
I get that.
Visitors who take photos of the bedrooms sometimes report that they are tapped on and on the shoulder afterwards, as if the spirit is requesting them to take further photos.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Totally creepy, but cute.
So let's see. We're going to call this person Georgia.
Oh, okay.
So Georgia says, I visited the Flavel house years and years ago, probably around 2005, with absolutely no knowledge of any hauntings. It was just on a tourist whim passing through Astoria. I found the house and grounds beautiful and fascinating to look at. I was upstairs in Katie's bedroom that I suddenly felt something. Again, I had no knowledge of any type of haunting, but when I stepped into the room, I felt some sort of energy, neither positive or negative, just energy. It was a sunny morning and the sun was coming in through the wooden blinds, slanting onto the bed and the floor. It's hard to describe how it felt, just some sort of kinship, like Katie was reaching out to me. I haven't felt that anywhere else before or since. It has stayed with me all these years, which is why here in 2004, I'm still Googling Katie. May she rest in peace. I wish I had known her.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that post was like, I want to say May.
Wow.
I don't know. It was sometime 2024.
Right. Makes sense. I picked that up.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. So then this other person, we'll call them Frederick.
Okay.
He says the guide working there said he put music on the Bluetooth MP3 style player. People in those days did die in their homes back then. Doctors actually did do house calls. Yeah. I felt a presence in that bedroom, but it was not evil. However, the bed appears to be bent on one side, like someone tried to sleep on it and they were not supposed to. My dad had a feeling something was wrong. He felt there should have been a couch in front of the fireplace in that room. I did too. Mom felt friendliness in the whole place, and the family was giving to poor people and good causes. Nothing bad happened to any of them.
Wow. So it sounds just like a nice little house.
So let's see. We'll call this person
Andre.
Call him Andre. We'll call they Andre.
We'll call them Andre.
That. They Andre rhymes.
We'll call it they Andre.
They Andre. So they Andre says, I visited the home on September 9th, 2020. We were walking through the house. It was completely intact. All of the original furniture, the dishes, the glassware, musical instruments sitting next to the fireplace, clothes hanging in the closet that were worn by the Flavel family.
Oh, that's interesting.
Obviously, I put these comments not in order because I think the other person who was like the comment about it being authentic.
Yeah.
But you get the idea.
I do. I figured that out in my mind.
Yeah. All of their belongings were in the house just as if they had been there yesterday. As we walked up the staircase and into the upper hallway, there were bedrooms on both sides. I stepped into the first bedroom on the left, which was a spacious room with a large bed up against the wall. As I stood in the middle of the room, I noticed the hairs on my arms standing on end, and I felt pressure on my body. It was as if someone came up to me and pressed into me and wrapped their arms around me and was squeezing.
Like a nice squeeze? Like a hug squeeze or like a squeeze?
I think a too tight squeeze because they said the pressure was significant in my chest.
Oh.
I slowly walked across the room and stepped into the adjoining room. The sensation left.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
When I turned around and walked back into the first bedroom, I could feel the same sensation again. Stop doing that then.
If you don't like it, don't do that.
I walked out into the hall and the sensation was gone. There was a woman downstairs who was greeting people and working in the home that day. I asked her about that room and who it was. She said it was George Flavel's. She mentioned he died in that bedroom of pneumonia. When I returned, I shared my story with my daughter, who had visited several years ago. She was very quiet and asked me to show her pictures of the home. I did. She told me that she was in one of the upper bedrooms. One belonged to a woman, and she experienced persistent ringing in her ears.
Oh.
As soon as she left that room, the ringing completely disappeared.
Very interesting.
I always have ringing in my ears, so.
Always?
Not, like, consistently.
Do you have the thing where, like, everything gets really quiet and then the ringing starts?
Yeah.
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 It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Usually it only happens in one ear at a time, though.
And then I'll plug my ears and then it goes away.
I normally just, I don't know.
Oh, no, I'll try to plug my ears and then, like, I take a deep breath and then it goes away.
I just ride it out.
Oh, yeah, no, it's really uncomfortable.
Doesn't feel like anything.
I just don't like it.
Yeah. My ears always feel clogged, though, so.
Oh. Ew, have you done that thing? I hated doing it where you would pop your ears, like you'd blow out it, like you'd plug your nose and blow out of it.
Yeah, shit hurts.
It does hurt. I don't like
You're
it.
not supposed to do that. That's why it's not good to hold in your sneezes.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So further up in the third floor tower, visitors and volunteers alike have reported an uninviting feeling there, similar to the library, quietly ushering them to leave the space.
Ew.
One volunteer said she was going to go up in the tower and was halfway up the stairs when she got a strong feeling not to go up there. Several others had the same feeling in the past, and one claims to have heard someone tell her to not go any further.
Ew, I don't like that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like, okay, fine.
Since so many workers have had things happen on those stairs, the tower has been closed off to the public. Another volunteer told a story about her son and daughter-in-law and grandchildren who came to visit her. She took them through the Flavel house and they took lots of photos. When they got home, they noticed that one shot was taken with two different cameras and both showed shadow figures of three women dressed in old-fashioned clothes up in one of the windows. A different volunteer told a story of a man who paid for the tour that came running down the stairs and ran out of the house and refused to go back in. When asked why, he told them he saw Captain Flavel in his bedroom, and when he called for his wife, who was in the other room, he noticed the captain disappear as if sinking into the floor.
I really don't like that.
No. In conclusion, if for some reason hell freezes over and pigs start to fly, because this house seems to be haunted by mostly friendly ghosts, I could go to this house during the daytime, of course.
I was going to ask.
But if hell has to freeze over and pigs have to start flying.
I think we're very close.
Well, I definitely think that there's something to be said about the fact that it was 80 degrees in November when the election happened.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it was not, what's the word I'm looking for?
Unseasonably?
No. Well, yes, but I'm just like, it's not irony.
Catastrophe. Fitting.
Sure. That's not the word, but like almost like artistic.
On par.
Yeah.
Artistic.
Like just like a beautiful sense of like, this is where our country is going and the world is quite literally on fire right now.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking 80 degrees in November.
Yeah.
Which
I hate it.
is not normal for people anywhere.
Like I was looking to buy, I'm going to say it quietly. I was looking to buy tickets to a football game for Joe. And I was looking up the weather in December and like December 21st. And it's like, oh, it's going to be like 50 or like high 40s. I was like, December 21st.
What is a white Christmas?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think this would be a very good stepping stone into haunted houses, like happy hauntings, like happy people, happy,
Yeah.
like benevolent
Yes.
spirits.
But again, hell freezes over and pigs start flying. So
Okay.
we might have one, but you got to have both.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay.
You have that scheming look in your eyes. I definitely don't like that.
When hell freezes over and pigs fly.
Okie dokie.
Well, nice story. I would go here too. And we'll go together. And then we'll explore Oregon together. As best friends.
Yeah. It'll be crazy because we'll see pigs flying.
It will be wild.
It'll be so crazy. Dear Lord. What spooky tea you pouring, Lauren?
Okay, so for this episode, it gets an overall trigger warning for animal deaths and descriptions and such.
Oh, so this was literal when you put that in there.
What did you think it would have been?
I don't know.
Well, if you're wondering what it
I
is,
thought maybe something happened on like a farm.
It's cattle mutilations. I keep wanting to say mutilization, and I know that's not right.
It's not.
Okay, so diving into this. So Oregon has between 10,000 and 12,000 operating cattle ranches.
Okay.
So it's a fine business that many are involved in and that many have been involved in for their entire lives.
Sorry. No. It's a good thing. Turn back and face me. So one of your little flyaway hairs is blue. And the sun is shining on it, so it's blue in the light. It looks really cool.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So one common story that passes between ranchers is the tale of cattle mutilations. Each rancher seems to know someone, but very few, if any, ranchers have experienced it themselves.
Interesting.
But in 2019, the first mutilation occurred to a rancher in Oregon. And in the years that followed, there were 5 confirmed mutilations in Wheeler County alone. In Crook County, 6 cow carcasses were found in a 7-day span. Over many different counties, more mutilated animals were popping up. In most cases, the cattle had been left for dead. Others were removed with precision, with straight and even cuts that appeared to have been made by a straight object. The reproductive systems had been cut cleanly out without disturbing other surrounding organs.
So it definitely was not animal. Well, why would an animal have, like, why would it be, how could an animal distinctly cut out these things?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, it wasn't clearly like a wolf had gotten in or whatever and tried to eat a cow. Like, it's something with hands had to do this.
Potentially. We'll get into theories.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
That's my theory.
After the first one, the town and county were scared, maybe even a little confused. But after the following ones, the town and county were terrified and they wanted answers. The immediate fear probably came from a very sensationalized and mysterious case that had happened back in 1967.
Ooh. So you gotta love those.
What, like weird cases?
Well, it's like, it's just, that classic trope of like, there's this thing happening that's happening now.
Right.
And then you're like, well, back in 1967.
Yeah. So this one happened to a horse from San Luis Valley in Colorado.
A horse.
Snippy.
He's dead, of course.
Well, you are so spot on. So Snippy was a well-known and well-loved horse, but when she was found dead in 1967, it immediately became an international news story due to the strange facts around
International.
her death. International.
Wow. They don't just mean like Canada.
I don't know.
Because, like, they'll be like, international, and it's like, it's just us in Canada.
Unsolved Mysteries told me it was international.
And Canada's not far.
It's not. Well, from Colorado, it's kind of far.
Oh, I thought this was in Oregon.
This particular Snippy story happened in Colorado.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
The San Luis Valley. All the other stuff is in Oregon. This one particular 1967 story is in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. So her owners went to check on her one morning when they noticed that she was lying on her side dead. It was determined that her spinal cord was missing from inside. From inside of the spine. So the spine was still there, but the spinal cord itself was missing, with no apparent way into the spinal cord channel from top or bottom. Her brain was gone, but there was no break in the cranium. Her upper respiratory organs were gone. Her head had been stripped, and her skin and tissue had been pulled back.
So this is when, before aliens started abducting us, they started with animals, just like we do when we're doing scientific trials. We start with animals before we go to humans.
But her death continued to stump, as around her there was no tissue and no blood found.
I wish her name was Stumpy, because that would have been such a funny joke.
Stumpy stumped him.
Yeah.
So the no blood and no tissue seemed impossible for what had happened to her.
And like stuff internally was missing with no signs of how it was
missing.
Right, like how it was gained access.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the brain's gone and there's not a single break in the skull.
Yeah.
So they also noticed that the only tracks around her were tracks that Snippy had made herself. It appears as if she had pranced in 2 or 3 circles and was found 100 feet away from her tracks. So they see her tracks here.
Yeah.
Her body's found here. There's no tracks between them.
Right. So it's like there's nothing that shows how she got from here to there.
Yep.
Okay.
It appeared, they said, as if something had tracked her from the air, as there were no other tracks around. So whatever was following her was in the air. Her family, as well as the world, freaked out. Then, from 1973 to 1979, 14 states started to report claims of their animals being mutilated.
Ooh.
One news story talked about how 3 cows had been found dead, all in a straight row, 150 feet apart from one another.
Interesting.
Each cow was missing their eyes, tongue, and sex organs.
Was it the Jeepers Creepers?
Oh, yeah. During this time, New Mexico was being hit particularly hard with 150 mutilations in a 4 to 5 year period.
Good Lord.
Throughout the 70s, thousands of animals had been reported mutilated.
And like, when you say mutilated, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but do you mean like how Snippy was, where it's like,
Do you want me to get to my next sentence?
see, it's not so fun, is it?
It was around this time that investigators had to come up with a definition as to what mutilated meant.
Oh, great. Cool. Thank you. I'm so glad you can clear that up. See?
Same wavelength.
Now
right
you
there.
understand.
The definition included that the flesh of the animal had been taken off of the jaw, with the jawbone being polished white.
Okay.
The tongue had been taken. An ear and eye, or both, were missing. Reproductive organs were missing or popped out. But the main telltale sign of a mutilation was that there was no blood surrounding the animal when there really should be blood.
Okay. So, like, it's not, that's what I was wondering. Like, it's more of like this weird things are missing, but they shouldn't be because of what we literally see.
Yeah.
And that's why it's odd, not like clearly an animal ate it.
Correct.
Okay.
So these animals are huge. Think of cows, all that
absolutely.
stuff.
I'm scared of horses.
If they're getting butchered and cut, there should be at least 13 gallons of blood that could come out of the animal. So
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So you're seeing this animal dead with no blood surrounding them at all.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm assuming they're within the confines of their farm, barn, whatever.
We'll get to it. So this is why it was terrifying for M.T. Anderson when he experienced a mutilation in June 2021. Anderson had been a rancher for over 25 years,
I don't like that this date is close to now.
Oh, I know. So he started ranching when he had just gotten out of school. He was one of those ranchers who always heard the stories of mutilations, but usually wrote them off, never really believing that something like that could or would happen.
You invite it to happen to you when you're like, it could never happen to me.
Right.
You invite it in.
Mm-hmm. So he recalls that one of his heifers just wasn't acting right. Fun fact I learned. A heifer is a female bovine that has not given birth to a calf. Well,
Yeah.
a cow is a female bovine who has given birth to at least a calf, like one calf.
That's interesting. Didn't know that. But
Yeah.
I was about to say, interesting choice of words.
What, that is heifer?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they said in the article.
No. You are scientifically correct in using it in a great, it's just, you don't hear that term often unless it's used in like a different way.
Which I didn't want to use it because I was like, I don't like this. But then, so I was putting cow. And then I learned the difference and I said, I have to be correct. So I'm going to put heifer.
It's how like bitch is technically a female dog.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It just sounds weird to say.
Yes.
So when he noticed this, that she was acting weird, he started to trail her to keep an eye on her. And he just knew she wasn't acting right.
I can't stop looking at the blue hair. So if you see me looking to the side, that's what it is.
She was falling towards the back of the herd as they were being led to their pastures, which was unusual for her. He decided to check back in on a day or so.
Wait. So he could see her falling behind?
Yeah.
And he didn't. Interesting.
Well, he's like keeping an eye on her, kind of like, why are you falling behind?
Yeah.
So he's like, in a day or two, I'll check on her again.
Yeah.
But the next morning, he couldn't shake that weird feeling. So he drove to the part of his ranch to check on his heifer. She was laying down, clearly dead. As he walked up to where she was laying, Anderson noticed that she had been mutilated. On the right side of her body, the skin on her face had been peeled back. The tongue was removed. Behind her shoulder, Anderson noticed a large, straight, couple-foot-long cut. The hide had also been pulled back. Anderson was shocked. Like a couple, it sounded weird, like a couple feet long cut, like a couple foot long cut. It was a cut that was a couple feet long.
Okay.
There we go.
It's
hard to put that into words.
Yes.
So Anderson was shocked. Like, how could something like this actually happen?
Mm-hmm.
And how could it happen to him? Like what you said. He quickly surveyed the scene around his dead heifer. What he noticed only added to the mystery. There were 0 tracks around the animal. No animal tracks, no car tracks, nothing. There was also no struggle at all. And weirdest of all, there was no noticeable blood. How did an animal like this get cut up and there's no blood? Also, no scavengers had gotten to her, so nothing would eat her, nothing even wanted to touch her.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yes. Anderson thought that maybe she had been darted and drugged. She was acting weird the day before, but Anderson was also concerned. His ranch was in a very remote part of Grant County. We're back in Oregon right now. We've been in Oregon.
Yes, I gathered.
Okay. They herd the cattle far distances, through canyons, over ridges. Like, it's pretty far on
a ranch is not,
it's not small.
Small.
So who would have known where the cattle was for her to be drugged?
Oh.
She was alive at 12:30 in the afternoon just the day before, and now at 6 a.m. the next morning, she's dead.
So less than 12 hours.
24 hours.
12 in the afternoon. 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. That's more than 12 hours,
but less than 24. I don't know what the number is, but I know that.
It's in there. So Anderson immediately called the county sheriff, who came out to do an investigation. They also walked around and took in the scene.
How does that... It's always so bizarre to me to call police for animal matters.
But it's not like the animal was attacked by another animal.
No, I know, but it's just, like... And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, what else are you going to do?
Right.
But it's always like there was that lady who had fed all those raccoons, and then she saw in her backyard she had hundreds of raccoons that were like, okay, feed us, woman. And she called the police.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, what else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do?
But I'm like, technically, this is an animal problem.
Right.
Like, what? They're not animally. They're not trained for animals, more or less.
Raccoon, you're under arrest.
Right. Like,
you are on property trespassing.
So that's why it's just like, I get it. Who else are you going to call? But it's just, it's weird.
It is. It is. So the police walked around, took in the scene. After looking around, they told Anderson that they concluded that his heifer had been killed by a bear.
It's a very particular bear.
Anderson thanked the officers and they left. But Anderson had his concerns. Bears were in the area, but in all of the times he was a rancher, nothing had ever been killed by a bear. And the heifer had been cut with almost surgical precision. The cut had been a perfectly straight and clean cut line.
Right, like that's the thing. Like it's the precisions, the cutting of like
no jagged edges. Like
right,
cut.
like obviously an animal's not going to be like precise.
No. Anderson said, quote, "Last I checked, bears don't pack knives." So Matt Carter is another rancher in Oregon who grew up hearing about the mutilations. He had been hearing about them since the 1970s from a friend. In August of 2020, so this is before. As Carter was checking on his animals, he noticed a cow laying down by the water trough. But the way the cow was laying just didn't look natural, so Carter went over to check on it. Wasn't like a normal cow lay. Yeah, it wasn't a normal cow lay. Carter could tell immediately that the cow was dead and had been mutilated. The cow's upper lip had been cut off, and of course the tongue was gone. The cow's intestines...
Is the tongue always gone?
In most cases, yes.
Interesting.
The cow's intestines were sticking out between its hind legs.
Ew!
I told you there was going to be a lot of animal stuff.
No, you just...
Yeah, I said trigger warning for animal death and descriptions and such.
You definitely didn't say description.
I definitely did.
No, you didn't.
When I listen back to this to edit, I will record that part where I say and descriptions and such. Because it's in my notes, so I know I said it, ma'am. So Carter noticed that the scene was weird, though. There appeared to have been no struggle at all. Then his farm was hit again in the winter of 2022, and this one was even scarier as the mutilation happened less than a half mile from his home.
Oof.
One of his bulls was dead. This one was wild, though. So there had been snowfall in the area, but there was no blood at all on the ground around the bull.
That's crazy.
There were no signs of foul play, and there were no tracks in the snow at all.
The no blood part is what gets me.
It's so weird. So Carter immediately called the authorities who came out and searched the area. They were also unable to find any tracks. Jeremiah Holmes of the Wheeler County Sheriff's Office said that he didn't believe it was a predator, but he wouldn't say what he thought it was, as there was no evidence of anything.
Of course.
So he has his thoughts, he's just not saying them.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Herschel Lantis and his grandson went out elk hunting on March 22nd, 2020. As they were walking around, the two came upon a bull lying on its side. Lantis was immediately hesitant, as it's strange to see a bull just laying there not moving.
Yeah.
Lantis slowly approached the bull, and that is when he noticed it. A huge chunk of skin from the stomach to the rectum had been removed. Lantis said that he had never seen anything like this before. He said the more he looked at the scene, the more uneasy he felt.
See, that's what's also crazy to me is that these people, like, being around animals, you're used to seeing dead animals.
Right.
Especially if you're a hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And for them to be freaked out by it.
Yep. He said the creeps got him. And I was like, I love that little term. But he also said the hair on the back of his neck stood up.
I'm sure.
Now, whenever he goes near the spot where he found the bull, he gets that creeping feeling.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't do this in chronological order. Another incident occurred in July 2020 when Jeremiah Holmes, the Wheeler County Sheriff, got a call from a very confused rancher. When he arrived, Holmes noticed a cow laying under a tree. Its head was 5 to 6 inches off of the ground.
Oh!
From a distance, the cow looked sick. But
Wait.
So it's laying, but its head is up.
But it's dead.
Because when he got closer, he realized the cow was dead. Yeah. The tongue and the reproductive tracts were gone. At that point, Holmes had never seen anything like this. The position of the cow,
Yes.
And to make things even creepier, rigor mortis had kicked in with the head off of the ground. which is completely unexplainable.
Right.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't either. Neither does Jeremiah Holmes. So on February 27th, 2021, rancher Ricky Shannon made a call to authorities when he noticed one of his herd had been discovered dead with an odd cut down its spine. Crook County Sheriff's Office deputy Scott Durr was dispatched to the scene. Durr. Shannon, who lived on the property with his 2 sons, said that no predators, not even a bird, had touched the dead cow. There were no tracks, no blood, but the cow's left cheek, tongue, and 3 of its udders had been cut away. There were no bullet holes found, and no metal was found when a scan of the cow was conducted. It was also 200 yards from the road, but again, no tracks. Like no animal tracks, no human tracks. Then on March 4th, 2021, so next month, Casey Thomas, manager of the GI Ranch on Lister Road in Paulina, reported that one cow from his herd of around 5,000 had suffered a strange death. Crook County Detective Javier Sanchez. A detective, oh my. Oh my. Javier Sanchez was the one who responded to this call. He found a black Angus cow lying on its side. Hair had been removed near the stomach, all 4 udders were cut off, and its left cheek, tongue, and sex organs were removed as well. Between the front legs, an uneven patch of hair was missing, and in the middle of that patch was a prick mark.
Oh.
March 5th, just the next day, another call came in, and Crook County...
Was there ever any testing on, if they had any toxins or whatever in their bodies?
I will also get to that.
Okay.
So just the next day, another call came in, and Crook County's Sergeant Timothy Durham was dispatched. Durham noted several straight incisions.
Is Durham related to Durr?
You're such a dork. A dirk. So Durham noted several straight incisions on the animal. 1 udder was removed, and there was a circular cut made around the anus.
Ew.
3 productive organs had been removed without the gut being punctured. Same as the others, the left cheek, left eye, and tongue were removed. There were, again, clean straight incisions where the cheek had been. Durham also found a puncture wound near the neck and shoulder, but no bite marks. Again, no tracks and no blood. On March 6th, so again the next day, Casey Thomas called the police again when he found another dead cow bearing the same strange injuries. Its left cheek was removed and a 2-inch patch had been cut into the hair on its neck. Darwin Hodges was familiar with the stories of mutilation. Back in the 70s, his father worked for the Department of Agriculture, so he had told Darwin all about the string of mutilations from the 1700s. From the 70s. Darwin was used to hearing the stories, but nothing prepared him for seeing his first mutilated cow. He said that he saw it laying there, mutilated, and he stood on looking in shock. There was also no reason for the cow to have suddenly died. It was extremely healthy beforehand. Its lips, tongue, and cheeks were taken. The vulva had been cut in a perfect, clean circle, literally no jagged cuts at all. He said that the more
things to take.
I know. He said the more he looked at the scene in front of him, the more bizarre it got. But the thing that really stood out to him were the precise, almost surgical cuts. So Julie Sperry is a bovine vet in Colorado, and as such, she works with a lot of ranchers. So she recalls one time she got a call, back in Oregon, an owner's healthy cow had died, and the owner wanted an autopsy performed on the animal. Upon her inspection, she noticed that the cow's tongue was missing. She found this to be bizarre as rigor mortis had already set in, and it had taken all of her strength to even open the cow's mouth to notice that there was no tongue. So there was no way a predator could have opened the mouth to get to the tongue.
Right.
After concluding her autopsy, Sperry was unable to determine a cause of death. She had never seen anything like this in all of her years of work.
Wow.
So what all of these mutilations have in common was that an ear, the tongue, and the sex organs were all removed, all without other organs being damaged in the process.
Okay.
The cuts were so precise that it was hard to tell what instrument had been used, but it was clear that it was not done by a predator. No animal can do clean cuts like that.
Sure.
And predators don't take the tongue. It's just not like the first thing they're going to
Right.
go
I feel
for.
like they're going to go for the stomach.
Right. Like something that's not the tongue.
Right.
The news reported at one time that the cuts had been made by the application of high pressures as a dissecting process. No blood was ever spilled, and there were never any tracks near or around the animals, no broken down fences, no trampled grass, no car, no human tracks, and there's never an apparent struggle that has taken place. So while we have authorities, veterinarians, and longtime ranchers being stumped by the unnatural deaths they're experiencing with the cows and heifers, we have people who are saying that this is ordinary. Crook County Sheriff John Getney said that there were no leads, but cautioned that there's, quote, no reason to panic. He said that they have seen these cases over the years. They seem to come in groups and they go away. So it'll happen, then it stops, and happens, then it stops.
I wonder if there's any correlation between people who cite UFOs.
Stop.
Sorry.
We'll get to that. No, good thoughts. Brian Dunning, a Bend-based podcaster committed to deflating wild crimes, said, quote, this read like a very typical case.
Of?
So he said, quote, this is almost certainly the same type of bird predation we've seen in so many similar cases.
What?
Bird predation.
What
so,
is that?
I believe like predator, like a bird being a predator.
Okay.
In my opinion, there is nothing here that suggests anything but normal and expected bird predation had occurred and no justification for a search warrant to seek out an apocryphal human responsible for the wounds.
A what?
An apocryphal human.
What the fuck is that?
Let's look it up because I have no idea. Apocryphal, first off.
That's different.
Of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true.
Had you said it correctly, I might have known.
No, you would not. Do not lie. So one of those humans could be responsible for the wounds. Going on, quote, most particularly birds and also some insects will always go first for the exposed soft tissue, eyes, lips, tongue, and mouth area, genitals. The animal is dead with 0 blood pressure, so there is no significant bleeding from postmortem wounds. The body is in the process of drying and decaying, so skin pulled tight from around the excised area, giving the impression of a perfectly surgical cut. So that's what Brian Dunning is saying.
Well, the doctor didn't say that, so...
Right, the vet, like the bovine
the cow doctor.
Vet. And another wild thing I learned while looking up one of these theories, but I only saw this one place. So apparently when an animal dies, gases in their body can expand, splitting them open with seemingly surgical precision.
Can't that kind of happen with us? Not like quite to that level, but don't our gases do that too?
Yeah, so if you ever try to throw a dead body into water without weighing it down, the gases will most likely make it come up.
Yeah.
So let's go over your theory. What do you think happened? And then I will get into the other theories.
Aliens.
Okay. So there are many theories about what could be causing these mutilations. The theories range from aliens to cults to cryptids like chupacabras. So the main theory is the UFO alien one. Back in the 70s, especially around when Snippy the horse was mutilated, there was also a large number of reported UFO sightings.
Coincidence? I think
Exactly
not.
what you said. There had been a wave of UFO...
Yeah.
There had been a wave of UFO activity in the fall of 1967 when Snippy was killed in Colorado. It was such a big deal and such a common thing that people would have picnics in fields at night waiting to see a UFO.
That's kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. You just see people in like lawn chairs looking up at the sky.
Nice.
So immediately UFOs were the top theory. In Snippy's case, she was found 100 feet away from where her tracks were found, with no other tracks being found. If she had moved on her own or someone had moved her, there would be tracks.
It's like they tried to put her back in the same spot, but missed.
But we're wrong. Yeah. Then something weird happened on May 4th, 1998. Christopher O'Brien has been an unexplained livestock death investigator.
What? That can't be your real job.
He's done it for over 20 years.
That can't be your it's not.
So like I said, I was listening to Unsolved Mysteries and I had to like rewind it a couple times and be like, what is your job title?
You can't be seriously making a living from that. That's crazy.
He had been called to a dead cow in 1998. The cow looked as if it had been dropped on a fence. Not that it had climbed over, but that it had been dropped. The horns and ribs were broken. The spine was snapped. And there was what appeared to be clamp marks on the cow's back.
So like something tried to like
pick
the claw.
It up. Yes, like the claw picked it up and then dropped it
Game's
back down.
not so easy, is it, aliens?
Right. It immediately looked as if the cow had been picked up and dropped from a height. It was also far from where it should be. So not in like the kind of area it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Brian said that a lot of the cows he was called to looked as if they had been dropped from a height, and a lot appeared 2 to 7 miles away from where they should be. People who live in these remote areas, mainly ranchers, claim that they have seen UFOs, and they also claim that there is a high correlation between UFO sightings and mutilations. One couple stated that they saw a spacecraft land. Aliens got out and started operating on a cow.
There you have it, folks.
Case solved. So
an eyewitness.
An eyewitness. Mm-hmm. So the next theory I came up with on my own.
Okay.
I didn't see any articles that brought this up.
Oh,
so
I like it.
This one was my thought.
Love it.
The chupacabra.
Okay.
Whose name can be translated to goat sucker.
Oh, that's right.
Is a cryptid that is known to attack animals and consume their blood.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, the chupacabra leaves uneaten carcasses that have been drained of blood.
Okay.
In 1975, there was a series of livestock killings in the small town of Mocha, Puerto Rico. Just like what I will get into, people thought, like I'll get into the series in a second, but people thought that it was at first the work of a satanic cult. Soon, more and more animals were turning up dead, all with small circular incisions.
So the chupacabra came up here?
It has moved, yeah.
Oh.
So some reports of witnesses say that the bodies of the animals appear as if they had been cut open with a knife. The reason that they go after livestock is if the chupacabra is sick or hurt and can't hunt in the wild, then livestock who are fenced in areas make it an easier target.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so they started in Puerto Rico, Mexico area, and then they've slowly made their way north. So people in Colorado, Oregon, a ton of like other states have spotted these.
Interesting.
Yes.
All from the same, like, is it like breeding and they spread out?
I did not that deeply into it because that was not my episode topic. So the next theory is that the government is involved. Many people claim that, mainly in the 70s, they would see helicopters in and around mutilation sites, and people assumed that it had to be government helicopters.
Why the flying fuck would the government want to fucking dissect cows?
I don't know.
Well, like, why?
Because it was the 70s, and that's what people thought the government did.
Jesus.
So the thought was that the government would shoot poison darts at the animals from the helicopters and do whatever they needed to do to them from the air, hence why there were never any tracks near the animals.
Okay.
Some also believe that the government was testing a new chemical and was testing it on animals, or that it was some sort of government experiment.
But that only covers one part. That doesn't, like, if they're testing this new, like, drug or whatever, why are they all cut up?
I know. I don't know. Next, of course, we have the cult theory. Satanic cults, to be precise.
That's a long-running secret. If there's a cult that does that and we don't know about it. People, you can't, first of all, people can't keep a secret for that long. Second off, if you have a community like that, one person is going to spill the beans. You cannot keep a secret with other people.
Oh, I get to that too, Mackenzie. Look at you.
I'm just so bright today.
So the main parts of the
It's 'cause
animals.
the sun is directly into my eyes.
I can see that. I'm so sorry. I'm not tall enough to block you.
It's okay.
So the main parts of the animal that were being taken in all cases were the animal's tongue, eyes, and reproductive organs.
Right.
So apparently those parts don't go for much in the black meat market.
Well, it's a cow, so
Tongues go for about $10.
yeah,
Reproductive organs are of no value.
probably not.
So the theory is saying that these body parts and all of the blood is being used for rituals among Satan worshippers and cults as sacrifices to the devil. Many truly believe that these parts are being taken for ritualistic and blood sacrifice and evil, predatory, occultist things. Why else would they take these useless body parts and so much blood? Obviously cults.
Obviously. I know there was no blood around it,
Mm-hmm.
but
There is still blood in the animal, yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what and so I'm like,
Which is why the chupacabra theory is like a fun one, but I don't think it's truly because it drains the animal completely. These animals still did have blood.
okay,
It never like specified the amount that was still in the animal, but there was blood.
right.
So the theory that it is a group of people is the theory that law enforcement is focusing on more than any other theory.
Well, I mean, it's their job.
And that's the theory that they're spreading. So for
Okay.
example, one newspaper article was titled, quote, "Cow-killing weirdos drain away blood." They believe that whoever is doing this is drugging the cows with a tranquilizer and then using some type of drug that coagulates the blood so that the cow doesn't bleed while it's being mutilated.
Interesting.
This is the agreed upon way that it is being done, as people, ranchers specifically, don't know how someone can incapacitate a cow.
But for decades,
I don't know. So cows are strong and weigh about 2,000 pounds. 5 to 6 men wouldn't be able to get an animal down if they're trying to get it down. And cows are prey animals, meaning they have to be extra vigilant about what's around them.
yeah,
So because of this,
that's
it's
why
not
their eyes
easy.
are on the side.
Yeah. So because of this, it's not easy to sneak up on one. They're aware of everything around them. Unfortunately, no blood or tissue has ever been able to be tested. So the blood and tissue samples degrade too quickly. So they are never able to send it to any lab to get tests done.
Interesting.
And in some cases, like ranchers, they'll see something, they don't check on their animals every single day.
Well, yeah.
So it might be the cow has been dead for 3 to 5 days or something like that. So by the time they do get to the blood and the tissue, you can't test it.
It's a cow farm. You're gonna see cows outside.
What is that from?
Oh God.
Is it a TikTok?
Old lady?
What?
It's a TikTok sound. It's from. It's like like backyard, barnyard, something. It's a movie about cows,
Oh.
and they talk.
Oh.
And the wife is like, "There's a cow outside," and the husband's like, "It's a cow farm. They're gonna be cows outside." And so yeah, I'll show you later.
Okay. So as of now, there is no known motive for why a group of people are doing this, and not a single person has come forward as having information, which is uncommon. So the cops were pretty much saying, like, if it's a group of people doing this, someone would have said something by now.
100%.
People are so focused on it being humans and catching the humans, as ranchers are nervous that maybe it's cows at first, but what happens when these responsible turn on other people, including the kids of ranchers, especially with the one attack that occurred half a mile from the rancher's home. So they're nervous, saying, like, these people started with cows. What if they move to humans next?
Totally valid fear.
And, like, the ranchers, like, their kids will run out on the ranch and be out all day long.
Right.
So they're like, what if, like, the person, whatever did this to the cow, was half a mile from my house?
Yeah.
My kids are half a mile from my house.
Yeah.
So since 1973, there have been over 10,000 reported cases in the US and Canada, but the true number is probably drastically higher. Being a rancher is not a public job, and losing animals is not something ranchers admit easily. Some believe that only 1 in 10 cases actually get reported to law enforcement, so that 10,000 number is probably very low.
Wow.
This is a big and serious crime, and as of now, no arrests have been made, but a reward is being offered if the person or people responsible are found. If you have information, you can reach out to unsolved.com or call the Pendleton office of the Oregon State Police at 541-278-4090. So there we have the cattle mutilations of Oregon.
I feel like
Yes, tell me your thoughts. What are we thinking?
it's definitely aliens.
I think so too. There's no way it's
just
human.
makes the most sense because I feel
I
like
know.
the things that they're taking, I'm like, they're trying to figure out how we work.
Like the eyes, the tongue, the reproductive organs.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like, we're all mammals. It looks slightly different on the inside, but
Mhm.
we're all mammals. It all works out in the same way in the end.
And the surgical precision of the cuts.
Correct.
And the fact that there are no tracks anywhere. And if you're cutting the animal in your spaceship, that's where the blood's going to be.
That's what I was thinking.
And then you put them back down.
Yep.
And like that one guy, our unexplained livestock death man, he said that a lot of the cows that he gets called to look like they've been dropped from a distance.
See?
Like from a height.
Yeah.
So they land and their horns and back and bones are shattered.
Yeah.
Because they've been dropped. And the clamp marks on the back.
There you go.
Truly, aliens are really the only explanation for this.
Yeah, and maybe they don't have the beam up technology like we thought they do. Maybe it's a clamp,
Maybe it is a clamp.
you know?
Yeah,
It seems very cut and dry.
I think so too.
Makes the most sense.
But of course, the cops aren't going to say aliens.
Aliens.
Aliens. But yeah, so I saw that when I was doing the research and I was like, well, this is different.
When I was looking for a story, I did see a couple of things that was like cow, and I was like, no, I cannot see you.
I must not know.
I have to wait. That was interesting.
Thank you. I thought so too.
It's creepy.
It's creepy.
But it also got a good mystery to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
The mysterious cattle mutilations. Or as I like to say, the mutilations.
Yeah, either or.
I tried to spell that when I was putting it into our spreadsheet.
Mutilization?
Yes, mutilization. And I could not figure it out. And it kept giving me a red squiggly. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then I said, it's mutilations.
Did you do one? Was it those one?
What?
Whoa. Was it one of those things where when you clicked on the squiggly, it didn't give you a suggestion? And so you're like, I don't know.
I don't know how I'm wrong. And then I realized, it's mutilation.
That happens every time I spell the word occur. Because I'd never put the second R. And then it's squiggly because I never remember.
There aren't two R's in occur.
Yeah.
OCCUR.
R-E-D.
That's occurred.
Yeah.
You didn't say occurred. You said occur. In occur, there's only one R.
Well, see, there you go. That's why it's always wrong. And then I'll click on it and they're like, we don't know the spelling. I'm like, me neither.
I know.
That's the point.
I hate when the things don't understand my spelling and I'm like, I don't know what you want from me.
Right. So I usually ask my watch.
That's smart.
Yeah. So, or if I'm with someone else, how do you spell?
Yeah. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Oregon. We got a creepy mansions cattle.
Yeah. Weird stuff.
Weird stuff. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the things.
Yeah.
If you rate and review us anywhere, send us a message to ascarystatepodcast@gmail.com or any of our social medias at
A Scary State Podcast. We do have listeners that can attest to the fact that you do, in fact, get a free sticker. It might take a while. It might take a long time.
But you will get them.
But you will get them.
And it'll be more than just one.
Correct. And if I feel really bad, you'll get a ton.
Well, the other one that took a while was because you went to Florida and then there was really bad weather and
life was just a little rough there for a second.
Life was really hectic for us in October.
I had it on my phone as a reminder weeks. And so it would be on my phone. The notification doesn't go away. So just sitting there and I'm like, okay, you gotta do it. And then I would get really annoyed with seeing it. So I would move it for the next day. And then wait, move it for the next day. And I was like, you're doing it today.
But our wonderful listener finally got his stickers.
Exactly. So you will get them.
You will. We promise.
Yeah, it's not an empty promise. It's just a long one.
But so I think that's all we have for you. So stay scary.
Stay safe.